But it's part 2. But guys, follow me on Instagram. Well, yeah, Harry Potter's cool. I know. It's cool. And my dad like.
Alright, so that little audio bit there at the beginning was my son. He likes to get on my iPad and act like he's making little recordings. He kind of gets that from when I used to do YouTube videos, and now he kind of does that. He also does his own little podcast, if you will. So that's where the little audio bit came from. But anyways, welcome back to the Citizens of Gaming podcast. I'm Tim.
Hey, this is Josh.
And I'm Brenden.
Alright, so this episode is going to be games of 22, games that are coming out in this year that are highly anticipated, games that we're looking forward to, games that we can't wait to play. But of course, before we do that, we're going to dive right into the news.
We are indeed. Well, since we talked about it before, I felt it was worth mentioning that the Activision Blizzard employees are still on strike. They have not gone back to work after the holidays. Their strike fund has reached over $350,000. So people are supporting them so that they can, have a better work environment and such. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. Felt we should mention it.
And to kind of go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good. Go.
I was just going to say kind of because this also deals with Activision. Activision is also suing Call of Duty cheat sites. I don't really have much to say about it other than when Josh and I were talking off mic the other day, is that they did one of these back in like 2017 and it just got resolved this year. So it's kind of a step in the right direction, but I really don't think anything's going to come of it.
They're suing engine owning, which I believe is like the main go-to cheat provider for Warzone or Call of Duty games.
Yeah,
it's something that's been happening more and more lately. Is these game developers suing cheat providers and cheat sites for violating terms of use and affecting their games and stuff, and they've been mostly successful.
Oh, and I'm sure a judge is going to rule on their point. I'm just afraid it's going to be like a cockroach. You kill one, 3 more are going to show up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing with anti-cheat software in general. Like, you put up a new wall, they're going to find a new way around it, over it, through it, whatever. Like,
it's
pissing in the wind.
Because they just won one of their lawsuits against a cheat provider. They started in like 2017, I believe. They just won it with the beginning of this year or the end of last year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
These lawsuits take years to, get filed and actually go to court. And reach a conclusion.
Yep.
But anyway, past that, CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, happened recently. Got a lot of cool stuff out of that. NVIDIA, Intel, several other people announced new graphics cards, new laptops, gaming laptops, basically anything that's like a consumer electronic. There's some new version of it. The biggest announcement, though, was probably the Sony announced the PlayStation VR 2. So they're finally upgrading their PlayStation VR for PS5. They didn't announce a release date or price point or show it. But they announced a lot of its features, and it'll be a vast improvement over what the original PlayStation VR was.
I know one of the staples to the new feature that I saw that was kind of making headline was the more accurate eye recognition, following your eyes or whatever.
It's called. It's going to have eye tracking.
So eye tracking.
When you move your eyes inside the headset, in theory, the game will be able to react to that, and I mean, in theory, it'll have you like, look subtly to the left or the right or up or down or what have you,
Yeah.
and maybe some other innovative uses. I don't know, but uh, yeah, that's a pretty advanced feature that I think only like one or two other headsets on the market have right now. Um, but yeah, it's going to be much more advanced than the original PlayStation VR.
That's
So
cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that'll
awesome.
be cool to see.
I know. I almost forgot about this, but I think ESO Elder Scrolls Online announced a new, brand new DLC. They're gonna have a showcase for it on the 27th of January. Some
Yeah.
new big update.
Speaking of
Yep.
ESO, we really should do a MMO style episode one of these days and kind of get into them. I don't really care for MMOs, and that'd be something I'd really love to talk about. I think it'd be a good one down the road.
MMOs require a lot of dedication.
They do. If you guys got anything else, we'll dive right in.
Nope.
Nope.
Rock and
All
roll.
right. All right.
Let's do
So,
it.
like I mentioned, today we're going to talk about some of the games. This list isn't going to encompass all the games that are coming out in 22. Some of the games we're just not even going to flat mention because they're yearly releases like Madden. Where this is the only mention you're going to get a Madden. It's going to come out this year. Big surprise there. But no, these are games that are coming out this year. Some of them that all of us are specifically really looking forward to it. Some of them I've honestly never even heard of. Kind of doing research on them. They seem like, they could be interesting games. So I think, one of the first ones that I'm looking forward to, one of the ones that I'm anticipating, I know Josh, you are as well. Brenden, I haven't really got your feelings on this one, is Elden Ring.
Yeah. So Elden Ring is going to be the next game from Software. Comes out February 25th. And From Software is most recently famous for making Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. And Elden Ring is going to definitely be in that vein of a dark fantasy, super difficult RPG, but I think this one's gonna be a bit more action oriented with stuff they picked up from making Sekiro. And yeah, it's also gonna have an open world, which would be a first for the Dark Souls type franchise. I don't know, I'm definitely interested, but I don't know. I mean, I'm still not the biggest fan of the Dark Souls games.
So
Yeah, same.
real quick, it's coming out on PlayStation 4, 5,
Yeah,
PC, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series.
Yeah,
So I'd never
It'll be available
played.
just about everything.
Yeah, just about everywhere. I never played the Dark Souls, so I don't really have an opinion formulated on this studio. But just from the gameplay footage that I've seen of it, I tried to get into the beta testing back in like September when they had opened up the applications for the beta testing. So a little bit that I've seen of it, it hits that realm or that time period, that ambiance. I don't really know what word I'm looking for, but it hits that gameplay that I like in games. It seems kind of medieval, action adventure RPG. It's kind of like right up my alley of the type of games that I like. So I'm really looking forward to this game because of the setting of the game.
Absolutely. That's kind of what caught my eye was that I tried to play the Dark Souls games, but its hitbox system was unforgiving, and it drove me up the wall. So unfortunately, I didn't really play them much. And then I heard a lot of good things about Sekiro. Was it Shadows Die Twice?
Yeah.
And I never got into that, but I saw the release trailer for this, and I'm like, ooh, this actually looks really good. So I'm kind of pretty stoked to give it a fair shot.
But yeah, if anything, it seems to be blending Sekiro and Dark Souls, because Dark Souls is definitely more the RPG. Like, I mean, it takes skill, and obviously it's real-time combat and stuff. But its damage is much more based on, your stats and numbers and what equipment you're carrying and yada yada yada. Sekiro, I mean, does have that, but it's far more based on uh, it's a much faster game. To the point where when Sekiro came out, a lot of people who were fans of the From Software games had a real hard time adjusting to it because it was much more actiony than Dark Souls was. Like you have to be a lot quicker and faster, and takes a lot more precision and uh, just like timing and learning
Yeah,
than Dark Souls ever did.
the combat was more freed up in Sekiro, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, again, it's much faster paced and it plays more like an action game than an RPG. And yeah, so I think Elden Ring is just kind of them blending both of those together and then putting it in an open world.
Yeah, and I believe they said that there's going to be some vast character customization in this compared to their previous games, which is I'm a sucker for customization, so that would be cool.
Well, with this fantasy style game, you have to have a vast, you know, character customization. You really can't limit it too much. You're going to take away from the game if you do something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those niche things that I, I I'd kill for it if more games would adapt customization.
Yeah, it's definitely great when games do encompass, great uh, character customization, and I really hope Elden Ring does kind of set the bar on this one, or at least really set some high standards with doing it.
I mean, they've had customization before. I mean, Sekiro didn't have it because it was specifically about the main character Sekiro. But like Dark Souls definitely had some, although I mean, it was kind of pointless because you're in armor, like, the entire game, so you don't really see anything. But it had it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's gonna be. They did say it was gonna be more than what they did in Dark Souls, so maybe they'll have some new twists and turns and stuff to do with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then it is also, I forgot, the uh, the story and some of the background lore and stuff is actually being written by George R.R. Martin, who wrote Song of Ice and Fire, which became Game of Thrones.
I think I remember seeing something about that.
That's right.
Yeah, he wrote. I think he just wrote like the main story and some of the like basic bits of lore, but then the rest of it got fleshed out by the team at From Software.
Okay.
So I've read
I mean,
a few.
His name's on it.
I've read a few of his books, and I'm currently starting the Of Ice and Fire series. If he can translate this into a video game, it's going to be a phenomenal story.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it could be. You would hope.
His books are amazing, and obviously writing a book and writing a storyline for a video game are going to be completely separate things. But if he can find a way to make that work, I think it's going to be amazing.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And then one of the next games coming out in 2022, I believe, is the anticipated Hellblade II, which looks pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
The trailer they showed out. Well, at least they said it was gameplay footage, like real time, like what you're seeing.
It should have been gameplay footage. Yeah, so that'll be. I think they gave a specific release date, but I think they said it's going to be sometime over the summer.
Holidays, I think is what they said. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I thought it's that summer. Then yeah, so that's being made by Ninja Theory, who made obviously the previous Hellblade. They also made Heavenly Sword, Enslaved Odyssey to the West. But yeah, they're bringing this back. It'll be on Xbox, Series X, PC. Pretty sure it's also coming to Xbox One as well.
Mind you, it's utilizing Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
I mean, it's the original Hellblade is gorgeous, and I mean, again, we saw the gameplay trailer, and the Hellblade 2 looks absolutely no different. It's going to be a stunner.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of that trailer, and I never played Hellblade 1. I have seen it on Game Pass, and I've been thinking about picking it up. But after watching that gameplay footage, and I don't know if that gameplay footage is from Unreal Engine 5 or if it's completely computer generated that they, created for that trailer, it does look like it's going to be an absolutely beautiful game, and I can't wait to play it. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, the originals. It's probably one of my personal favorites of last generation. Honestly, like it did so much without going overboard. It's a very if you try and explain it to somebody, it sounds like this crazy over the top thing. But it's actually this really kind of restrained and toned down, kind of gritty game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it tells a wonderful story. And Senua is the main character. And she, yeah, a very relatable character, somebody you really feel for her and get to know over the course of the game. And my only real concern with the second one is where the story is going to go, because the first one really stands on its own.
Yeah.
And I don't think a sequel is entirely necessary, but I'll wait and see, and I am optimistic regardless.
Yeah, there's not enough good. Not enough good. There's not enough new stuff out there. So, I mean, I'm open for sequels to things, but, there's always that chance it might, flop.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like
I mean, yeah. Hellblade was a very original game, a new original game out of that last generation. It really stands out and stands well on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't played Hellblade 1 yet, and it's been staring at me on Game Pass, and I haven't quite pulled the trigger yet to download it and play it. I really should, especially before Hellblade 2 comes out.
You should, because according to that gameplay trailer, it's looking like you're gonna need to know what's going on in the first one before you play the second one.
Damn it! I was really hoping it was gonna be a standalone.
I mean, you should play it. I mean, not only is it a tremendous game, but it's also fairly short. Like, I think I completed it in about 6 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
That is extremely short.
I mean, I tend to clear games a little faster than most people, so it might take some other people like 8 or 10, probably closer.
I'm still gonna say that that's a short game
I mean, it's still very short. Well, not very short, but I mean, I've mentioned it before. I would much rather have a memorable 10-hour experience than a completely forgettable 100-hour experience. If you can make that 10 hours or 8, or even, like I said, this I think took me about 6. If I remember that 6 hours, then you've won. Like,
absolutely.
If I would much rather have a tighter, focused, amazing 6 hours than a mediocre, bland, boring 60, 70 hours, what have you.
Yeah, I don't want to divulge too off topic, which that was still on, but there's definitely games that I've played that I know have shorter stories, but you're absolutely right. Like, they're more memorable. They really bring in.
Yeah.
And
because they don't overinflate. They get in, get out.
Yeah.
This wasn't on topic, but I'm going to throw another game in here real quick.
Okay.
A Plague Tale Requiem.
What?
Yeah. Mind you.
You speak Japanese, Josh?
A Plague's Tale.
A Plague's Tale. Okay, yeah.
Plague's Tale.
The Plague's Tale sequel.
And see, that's another game.
That was another one that just came out of nowhere for me.
That's another game that's been kind of staring at me on Game Pass, and I remember mentioning to you a couple months back, Josh, about wanting to play that, and I just haven't pulled the trigger to download it to start it yet.
It's the neatest game. It's just like, to sum it up quickly, it's just a dark fictional take on the Black Plague, and it was pretty stunning and pretty damn good. I'd have to say. It took me by surprise.
Do you know what platforms this game's
I,
coming out
I
on?
I believe it's going what, PlayStation 5, right?
I
And
think it's coming. I think it's coming to, well, maybe not Switch, but I think it's coming to everything else.
I'm looking it up. So it is going to, yeah, Switch, Xbox Series X, S, Windows, and PS5. So it doesn't look like last gens are
you're
going to
right.
get it, but next gens and Switch,
Hmm.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, if it could run on a Switch, there's no way it couldn't run on an Xbox One
I
or a
think
PS4.
and this is a topic for another time, but I think this is where they're going to slowly start phasing out Xbox One and PS4s.
I mean, you're not entirely
Yeah,
wrong. It's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah, and I think this is just
yeah.
kind of that precursor to it.
I felt like, this game is definitely on, on a beautiful par with Hellblade. That's just felt one of the things why I kind of like saw the similarity between them two, just because the dark, gritty beautifulness to them. So
Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, I've did a little bit of research on A Plague's Tale, and I just the pictures that I saw, which again, pictures could always be easily doctored, but it looked like it was a very beautiful game. It was a very graphically appealing game.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's kind of what draw me to it. That's another thing that I really like about games is when they're graphically appealing. Those type of games really draw me to them. So of course,
the
Hellblade and
immersion.
A Plague Tale, is two of those games that has really piqued my interest.
Yeah. I like that. See, that's that. I feel like that's like medieval games. Not to get too much off topic, but
Right.
I feel like medieval games are like the perfect games to really capture a beauty that, just average games can't capture.
I think that really every game has that potential to do it, and there's other. I think there's other games out there that their beauty comes from their art style, not necessarily their graphic ability.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more about the art and how you use it and
Yeah.
Yep.
the way you frame that kind of stuff. It's not entirely about uh just high fidelity and
Right.
running at 120 hertz at 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the darker atmosphere, the dirtier roads and ground and dirt blown around type stuff that just
Right.
hits different for me.
Yeah.
Right. And then so another game that's supposed to be released this year, Gotham.
Yeah. Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights. There we go. Yep. Thank you, Brandon.
Uh, yeah. So that's coming out. I think the release window's sometime over the summer or fall. It's being made by WB Montreal, if I remember correctly. They're the same people who made Batman Arkham Origins, that kind of forgotten game of the Arkham games. And so I mean, the short version is basically going to be like co-op Batman Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, Arkham Knight, with Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Robin, and Red Hood. Oh wait, no, maybe not Red Robin, just regular Robin. But yeah, it's supposed to have like 4-player co-op, with co-op like fisticuff melee combat you've seen in the Arkham games.
Yeah.
But like it looks cool. I mean, sometimes it's just simple additions to the formula that can really change a game. So having a nice open world to go fight crime and be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, with your friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's co-op, so you'll be able to. It says it's only 2-player co-op. I don't know
it
if.
might only be 2. Yeah.
But it's coming out on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series. It doesn't look like Switch is going to get it. So, with it being a co-op, is it going to play more like? I haven't watched the trailer on it, so you might know a little bit more about it than I do, Brendan. Is it going to play more like what I've seen gameplay footage of, like the Marvels, where it's kind of like that overhead third-person type where you run around the level,
No.
or is it going to be like the other Batman
I
games
think-
where it is, third-person open world RPG style?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I mean, they made the spin-off Batman Arkham game, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna play more or less like that, just with 2 people, and obviously at least I imagine all the characters are going to play somewhat differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be that, you know, like Batman, the Arkham games, like it's going to be that kind of behind you, third person,
Yeah.
uh, action type style.
Okay. I just started kind of playing the Batman game. I don't remember which one. Josh knows. He knows what games I'm playing.
Probably Arkham Asylum, I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
the latest one that came out, or the not the latest one, but the last one to come out. So it actually, I might even hold off and wait and play that one. Just because it's going to be a newer game, so I think it'll be a little
Yeah.
bit more enjoyable than trying to play a game that came out like 7 years ago.
Oh well, yeah, Arkham Knight was the most recent one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean the Arkham games still hold up pretty well, but I
Yeah.
mean, I won't blame you for waiting.
There's so many games you haven't played. And if I wouldn't blame you if you didn't try to play everything.
Yeah. Let's not get into my back catalog. That's a whole other
I mean,
episode.
we all have it.
Yeah, we all
Yeah,
have that
we
catalog.
definitely do.
There isn't a gamer on this planet who doesn't.
And so, since I already made kind of mentions of it just a second ago, Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yes. So this is coming out. They postponed it. I believe it's coming out in July or August now. Supposed to be. Pretty sure it's Xbox One and Series X, as well as PS4 and 5 and PC.
I'm seeing Switch
I,
also.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure about the Switch, but I think it was going to.
Yeah.
Being developed by Firaxis Games, and they are probably. I might get this might be a little off, but they are probably the premier strategy game developer. Probably period. If not, they're at least in like the top 3 for sure.
Okay.
Are we
Firaxis,
talking like Marvel Ultimate Alliance type
no,
thing or
no, no, no,
no?
no, 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 no. So it's a strategy game. Like they made the Civilization games.
Oh,
They made and what this game is going to be more closer to is XCOM, Enemy Within, and then more recently XCOM 2. So it's going to be a smaller scale, team-focused strategy game.
Okay.
So basically, you're going to get a squad from Marvel Midnight Suns. I guess I should back up a little bit. Marvel Midnight Suns is a story from the early 90s. And so they're going to be following that storyline through this game. And so it was a group of people who were focused on fighting some more of the mystical elements of the Marvel universe. So you'll be able to recruit these characters and put them on your team. So like Wolverine's gonna be one of the characters. Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I'm looking at it
Blade.
now.
Yeah. They haven't announced the whole roster yet, and they said they're gonna throw in a few surprises. But yeah, so it's a tactical turn-based. I mean, it's not a shooter, but it's a tactical turn-based, kind of an RPG, I guess, but battle simulator more or less.
Okay.
So pick your squad, and then you'll get, put into whatever the situation is, and have to fight your way out of it using your wits. And it's they have like a lot of the environment is interactable, so like you can knock people into stuff.
Okay.
And they can take damage if like you kick them into a wall or whatever. So then they'll take damage after they hit the wall, or like if there's exploding barrel, you can shoot that or throw it. Some characters have telekinetic abilities, so they can like throw stuff or what have you.
yeah.
So it's not only is just about that, it's also about using your environment to your advantage. But yeah, it's again a really cool thing of now that we're a few years into Marvel getting serious about video games. It's just kind of one of those games that's I think it's gonna surprise some people. And again, something that's just like completely out of left field. Because I mean,
Hmm.
you know, when Marvel said we're gonna get serious about video games this time, like, you know, we got the great stuff like Spider-Man on PS4. I mean, we got the Avengers game,
Yeah.
you know, that dumpster fire. Uh, but like that's kind of the stuff that everybody expects. But that, like, you know, again, it's a turn-based like tactical RPG battler. Like, I don't think anybody saw that coming, let alone specifically based in the Marvel Midnight Suns storyline.
Right. So it's not even like relevant to like what they're making movies about right now. This is,
Oh yeah,
taking it back.
yeah. Again, this I think the original Midnight Suns run was in the early '90s.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it looks really cool. And then there's going to be this whole thing about you're not in battle about making friends with all the Marvel characters who are around. Um, and then that'll help you back in battle if you bring them along. Um,
So is this supposed
but
to be
yeah,
a little bit more open world than linear?
no, 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 no. You'll be back at the base, and I mean, it's not open world, but like it's an
Mhm.
open area where you can walk around and talk to everybody, and
So it'll be like a social
probably,
area for the game.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, make your upgrades, stuff like that, and then you'll have to go out into the scenario, whatever's going on, the next story mission, what have you. It'll take you where you need to go, and then you'll get locked into the battle mechanics and stuff.
Okay. That it actually sounds like a very interesting game. Again, I have my reservations about games made after movies, so but I might have to venture out and actually try one of these. I know the Marvel Ultimate Alliance is a great game. Maybe I'll have to try this one.
Uh,
Or is it?
uh, it, it's Marvel Ultimate Alliance is different because it's a bit more of a brawler,
Right.
but it does have the RPG elements. But yeah, I mean, this is more. I mean, you can check out the trailer for yourself. It's definitely more strategy focused, and like, you know,
Right.
everybody takes like a turn and has like a certain amount of actions they can do, and yada yada.
Right.
Um, but
I
again, it's a
think
lot more about tactical thought and um, as opposed to just like, you know, mashing X to punch stuff.
It's not a button
yeah,
masher.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it sounds like it has potential to be a great game.
it sounds
I'm
pretty
hoping.
cool, honestly.
Yep.
I'm
Um,
hoping.
I think next game on the list, and I'm gonna definitely let you take the point on this one, Brendan, because the other day you made it seem like you were highly anticipating this one. Bayonetta 3.
Yes, Bayonetta 3, only coming out on Switch. Um, being made by Platinum Games, which I've mentioned before. I'm a big fan of. It's more Bayonetta, which uh, I have zero problems with, but trying to explain it is kind of insane. Because
All right.
it's the most over-the-top action game probably ever. If not, it's definitely up there. Um, which is what Platinum does. They just make over-the-top action games for the most part. Um, but yeah, the interesting thing with this one is we're not entirely sure we're playing as Bayonetta, but they're still calling it Bayonetta.
Okay.
Hmm.
So there might be some kind of hook there or some trickery or what have you. But yeah, it's been, I want to say, at least probably 7 years since we got Bayonetta 2. So it's been a long time coming.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I'm a big Platinum Games fan, and any action game fan worth their salt definitely definitely looks forward to a Platinum game, let alone Bayonetta in particular.
Yeah.
It's just insane, and what's even more insane is that the game runs on Switch. Like,
And from the still pic that I've seen of it, it looks like it's a decent looking game too. So being able
oh
to
yeah,
run
that's what I
on,
was saying. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's gorgeous. It's crazy that it runs on Switch. Crazy.
So is
But
this
yeah,
a
like
Nintendo exclusive company? Is that why it's only on the Switch?
no. Little history lesson.
Okay.
Bayonetta 1 came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 back in 2010.
Okay.
It's made by Platinum Games. It did relatively well. And it was published by Sega. I should clarify that. It did relatively well. It was reviewed very well. Like, the average score I think is in like the high 80s, low 90s, on like
Oh wow.
Metacritic and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's a tremendous game. And so they thought it was good enough to make a sequel, so Platinum pitched it to Sega, and they're like, well, it was, but it wasn't profitable enough. But Platinum didn't give up on it, and then eventually Nintendo offered to basically co-produce the game with Sega, and so then Bayonetta 2 came out exclusively on the Wii U, and then got re-released later on the Switch.
Oh wow. I didn't know
So
that.
now, yeah, Bayonetta is kind of like, it's still technically owned by Sega and Platinum, but like they signed a deal with Nintendo, so she's kind of more or less a Nintendo exclusive property at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a long time coming. If it sounds familiar, if you're a fan of Smash Brothers, she's been in Smash Brothers. She was in the Wii U version, and she's in Smash Ultimate on Switch.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm pumped for whatever batshit insanity that this game's gonna take me through.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I might have to at least watch some gameplay footage of it. I don't know that I'll get it for the Switch. I just don't hardly play my Switch. My kid plays it more than I do, but
Yeah,
I'm at
no,
least gonna
that's-
kind of research this game.
I mean, if you like, like Devil May Cry or I mean, like, yeah, even to a point, like some of the old Onimusha games, or any other Platinum Games stuff, like Vanquish.
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden's a good example too. Just like pretty difficult, but like high intensity, high action, all the time. You like action so fast and crazy that if you blink, you're probably gonna die. Like it's
Oh,
like it. I mean, that's exaggerating a bit for Bayonetta, but like it is amazingly smooth, and yeah, it's just this crazy over the top thing with magic and witches and crazy monsters and stuff, and it's a ton of fun.
that's.
What do we got next on the list?
I was thinking God of
Redfall?
War.
God of War, Redfall?
God of War. Well, I mean, both of them
God
are
of
on the
War.
list.
Yeah.
Ragnarok.
Yep.
God of War.
God of War Ragnarok. Good
Yeah.
old God of War.
Yeah.
It's a PlayStation exclusive, PS4, PS5, set to come out
Yeah.
this year.
And on PC, right? Or are they gonna
No.
wait that
At least
long?
not initially. No.
Not initially.
No. PlayStation is very adamant about their exclusives being on PlayStation. They are bringing some of their older stuff to PC. We already talked about it, like Tim's playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep.
They're bringing Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy to Steam and PC. The 2018 God of War is also coming to Steam or PC.
Which
So
means
they're slowly
Xbox
bringing
is
some of their
getting
back catalog.
Which means Xbox is getting some of this because I know. Looking at something, Josh had sent me something a while ago about being able to play God of War on Xbox.
Oh yeah,
And
'cause
there's
of-
a very ass backwards way for you to do it.
yeah.
Technically, yes, it is possible.
it's so basically Nvidia, the GeForce,
Their graphics
App,
card
I believe,
company.
Yeah.
yeah, they have their own like cloud service, and apparently the web browser on the Xbox, they used to have it blocked, not supported, but recently they unblocked it. Now it's, I guess there's some form of support with it, and they've recently been kind of like, I guess, giving a little bit more support towards it, because now you can kind of utilize your controller on the NVIDIA site on your Xbox now, which is,
So which
it'd be
well,
interesting to see where it goes.
which would allow you to download these games onto your Xbox.
Well, not
Well,
download, but
No, it's
stream
a
them.
cloud service.
Oh, so you'd be able
Stream
to
them through
stream
your
it from.
Xbox.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So, anyways,
again, it's a very ass backwards way, but it is technically feasible.
it sounds like a lot of work to play these games.
Yeah, it's way easier to just buy it on PC and play it on
Yeah.
PC or
Yes.
PlayStation.
Yep.
But if you really want to just shove it in Sony's face for some reason, you totally can.
I mean,
It's true
I
though.
guess
Yeah.
that definitely sounds like an ass backwards
It's
way to shove it in
it's
their face.
it's if you really want to try and shove it in their face by spending like almost $1,000 on other things, then knock yourself out.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to God of War. I never played it the brief moment that I had a PlayStation, so I don't really know much about God of War series. I know it's like PlayStation's huge exclusive that
Yeah.
those
It's
fanboys
it's
rave
it's
about.
a really good exclusive title for PlayStation. The last one I played was on PlayStation 3, which is God of War 3, I believe. And that's actually one of the first games that really kind of like got me into story-based games was the God of War series. And I believe God of War 1 and 2 and 3 were Greek mythology, and then God of War 4 they started with Norse mythology.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so every God of War game before the 2018 God of War sequel reboot, because it's technically both, um, was set in Greek mythology. And the 2018 reboot came a bit of a stronger focus on the story and the characters. And yeah, switched over to Kratos post Greek mythology and what he'd been doing since then and yada yada. Yeah, so this is God of War Ragnarok is taking place almost immediately after the end of God of War 2018. And it looks to be more or less more of the same. I haven't really seen anything that's really deviating from the formula that they set up in the last one.
Yeah.
I guess
Um,
I haven't done any research on it because I'm not going to be able to play it, at least not
Well,
for a while.
I
right.
mean, I guess the sum of Ragnarok, if people don't know what Ragnarok entails, is it's the fall of Asgard essentially.
Okay.
It's
Well, yeah,
doom.
it's what they started in the first one, which uh, it's one of those times where I kind of hate that I know things, because as soon as it started up, I basically had the entirety of God of War 2018 figured it out. Like there's a mystery guy that shows up in like the first 20 minutes and starts beating the crap out of Kratos, who's the main character who you play as. And
Yeah.
I knew who it was right away. And I'm like, "Oh, so we're doing this." And basically more or less, I mean, I won't say beat by beat. That's a little unfair. But
It's if you know the Norse mythology,
yeah,
right?
if you know it, then you know the broader strokes of what's going to happen. And I'm like, "Oh, there's that person. Oh, that's how that's going to go. Oh, there's that person. Oh, that's how that's going to go." Like, I basically called it beat for beat. So it kind of deflated the game a little bit for me. Um, and so I mean, Ragnarok is supposed to be the fall of the Asgard gods. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And they definitely set it up in the last one.
Yeah.
And this is also supposed to be the end of his Norse outing. They were originally talking about doing a trilogy, but then I guess they decided to just end it with the second game.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw rumors that they were teasing out what they're gonna be fondling or playing with for the next mythology they might tackle.
yeah, they kind of minor spoilers. They kind of tease it in the 2018 game. You enter a room and there's a few different mythologies um, around, and obviously one of them is Greek, which you already went through, and then one of them is Norse, which you're currently in, and then there's a couple of other ones. So odds are they're going to pick one of those.
Yeah.
Um, I won't spoil it for anybody. Um, but it'll be interesting to see where they take it, and they definitely hinted at some other stuff. Um, so we'll see if any of that comes to
Yeah.
pass.
Technically, his name is Kratos the God Butcher. I mean,
I mean, he killed like 98% of the Greek
he's
pantheon,
just
so,
he's killing them all. So I mean, why stop? Why stop there?
so yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes, and if they really do make any changes to the formula, because as much as I did enjoy God of War 2018, it had some problems.
Did
Um,
it? Unfortunately, I never played it.
it like none of them are like deal breaking. I mean, I still played the crap out of the game and finished it, yada yada. Um, But it definitely had a few things that like nagged at me, and I felt hurt the experience. So I'm curious to see if they'll actually fix any of it or change any of it. Um, but I mean, again, it's another one of Sony's big bombshell exclusives. Um,
It's a good one.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I'm a big fan of God of War.
Yeah, same.
Yep. And then Josh, what was you were mentioning Redfall?
Yeah, Redfall. I mean, Brendan told me a little bit about it, which my goldfish brain has mostly forgot about it. But I guess I'll leave it up to Brendan.
But yeah, we saw. I'm trying to think of when that trailer got released. It might have been E3. It might have been during their like fall showcase. Actually, now that I think about it. Anyway, uh, it's being made by Arcane Studios, specifically Arcane Austin. And the last game they made was 2017's Prey, um, which is a tremendous game if you haven't played it. Um, and it's gonna be, I guess the short version is going to be Left 4 Dead with vampires. Um, it's kind of the reductive, easy version of what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a like 4-player co-op shooter. Uh, where each character has their own unique abilities. Um, I've heard it's gonna be open world, but I haven't had that confirmed.
I'm
Um,
seeing open world also, and it's gonna be on
yeah,
Xbox and PC.
yeah, because it's Arcane is owned by Bethesda, and now Microsoft owns Bethesda.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's again, I don't think it's gonna do anything that's gonna reinvent the wheel. Um, but it's one of those things where it's gonna be kind of like the sum of its
A
parts, where it
co-op
just
experience.
yeah, it's gonna be the sum of its parts, and it's just gonna be one of those instances where it kind of does well, at least hopefully, where it's gonna do kind of everything right. Um, and I mean, even the simple switch of from zombies to vampires might be enough to get some people interested, just so you don't have the same brain eating people running at you. Come with some
Yeah.
new.
I
That
mean,
right there
like,
has me
I'm.
interested,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
zombies are played out.
Yeah,
So switching to vampires to me is kind of a fresh take on an apocalyptic style game.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, everybody's been. I mean, maybe not everybody, but for the longest time after Left 4 Dead 2, I mean, everybody was hurting for another experience like that. And we did get Back for Blood, but personally, I've not heard the greatest things about it. So it'd be cool to see a shift towards something else in the co-op space where.
Is
yeah.
Redfall supposed to be like Left 4 Dead?
Uh, it's from my understanding, they haven't really shown any gameplay entirely.
Okay.
But so like I mean, if it is open world, then I mean, it's not gonna be level based like Left 4 Dead is.
Right.
But so we don't know entirely what that's gonna entail, but um, yeah, like it. I mean, yeah, we don't know entirely. I imagine the goal is probably to stop the vampires from taking over.
Yeah.
Wild stab in the dark. Uh, so like I imagine maybe that's got something to do with it, but like
Right.
I don't know if there's like a whole day-night cycle thing. I don't know. Like they haven't really shown a lot of it. Um, and it's slated for sometime this summer.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I mean, maybe they'll make it, maybe they're not. Maybe they're just playing it close to the vest because they've got other stuff coming up in the short term, like Microsoft does.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I really liked Arcane Austin, what they did before with 2017's Prey. Um, so like I think that's a good start, and this game is going to be wildly different from that. Uh, again, like I think at the very least, I think it's going to be a fun co-op experience.
Yeah.
Which
I
there's not.
imagine we'd probably hear more about it in April for E3.
Well,
Hopefully.
E3 is not till June or July.
Is it?
Um,
Has it been was it always an April thing or
No,
no?
it's what is in April? I forget what shows in April off the top of my head. But yeah, no, E3 is usually in I think it's usually June now. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Which I think it's going to be another online event, which I
Yeah.
heard.
Yep.
No, I like that it is, co-op, because it doesn't seem like there's too many games that are co-op like that
Yeah,
anymore.
it's almost like dying off.
It is.
Well, yeah, a lot of people. I mean, it was a big fad, 10 years ago or so.
Yep.
Mhm.
And now it's all about battle royales, and
Yeah.
actually, I think battle royale's still probably king of the hill on that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I don't think it's gonna reinvent the wheel. I don't think it's gonna win game of the year or anything like that. But I do think it's gonna be like a good, well put together, solid, fun experience.
Mhm.
And it has a fresh outlook, like I said. I that right
Yeah.
there draws me.
Yeah.
There ain't a lot of vampire games like
No,
that.
and I'm tired of zombie games are a dime a dozen anymore. So now you have
Yep.
a different outlook on
Well,
the apocalypse.
and the thing about the what makes, at least for me, the zombie game so drawn out is because everybody's tried to follow the Left 4 Dead formula instead of kind of. I mean, the only games that kind of like broke the cycle for me was like Undead Nightmare, Red Dead's Undead Nightmare, and I was always hopeful that like more games would follow suit to kind of those experiences, but none really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So speaking of Bethesda, Bethesda has a huge game dropping this year. It's supposed to come out November of
November
2020,
11th.
and
November 11th, 2022. 11 years after Skyrim.
this is
To
a
the day.
completely different take on anything Bethesda's done, from my understanding.
Yeah.
And it's Starfield, which
I
is
mean, with what they're going, what they're aiming for with this seems to be astronomically massive.
Hat. I see what you did there.
puns. No, it's from what I'm seeing, it's think of Skyrim but in space.
Yeah,
I mean, that's probably more or less a short version. Yeah.
I have seen videos, I've seen gameplay footage, I've seen still pictures. From what I've seen,
it's
this
more so
game
that
looks absolutely beautiful.
we've only gotten that trailer, right? That's just everybody's just been breaking.
I thought
the
there
hell
was
out of
some still pictures running around too.
Yeah, there was a small like developer sit down thing.
Yeah.
that. That's right.
And yeah, they let a few stills out of that and let out some of like the background of the game and stuff. But they're still playing. I think they're gonna slowly reveal more and more as the year goes on, as we get closer and closer to the release.
Naturally.
Yeah. But I mean, I have no reason to doubt that it's actually going to make that November 11th. Considering that that's when they chose to reveal it, and it feels like they've been working on this game for a while. Like, this is basically been in development, at least in some form, since after Fallout 4, which was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah. They had another group working on Fallout 76. But yeah, this is yeah, like gonna be like, actually saying Fallout 4 in space might be a bit more accurate, just because I imagine it's gonna be more shooting than swords and sorcery.
You never know. You might be able to ride a horse in space.
A dragon on the moon, essentially.
Right?
But I mean, honestly, one of the parts I'm really excited about is they keep talking about exploration being a huge factor in the game.
That sounds so cool.
So you're going to be going to all these different planets, and you're going to be able to get out of your ship that you had to fly there.
Yeah.
Like, you have to fly it.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine there's probably also going to be like a bit of a fast travel, so you can not have to do that. But generally speaking, you do have to fly your ship.
Yeah.
Land on the planet, and then get out and walk around.
That would be so neat. Oh god, could you imagine?
Bethesda's no stranger to exploration games. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, they're all about immersion for that stuff.
Yep.
So I'd imagine they're trying to hit some. I mean, because like what you have, No Man's Sky, which is like a crazy, amazing exploration game, and there's some other game on PC. I was talking with you about Brenden, and if it if they're trying to kind of nail that sort of experience, oh, that would be crazy.
And I think they are, but No Man's Sky and the other game you were talking about, Star Citizen, um, those games are more about uh, well, No Man's Sky is procedurally generated, meaning that every planet is randomly made with its atmosphere, terrain, the creatures on it,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Which is not a bad thing. Like, I'm not trying to crap on that. Like, they literally made an entire galaxy full of planets that you can go to. Like, it's insane. Um, and if anything, it's going to be a bit more like what Star Citizen is supposed to be, which is going to be, again, like, all these planets and stuff are going to be kind of their own levels in a way, I guess. Like, so they're each going to be handcrafted. Like, it's not just going to be a bunch of random
Yeah.
nonsense.
Like random.
It's going to be like a
Tetris thrown
solar
together.
system thing, right?
I don't remember if it's only one solar system or if it's multiple solar systems. I can't remember what they said.
I mean, just thinking of
it's a bunch of planets that are, again, going to be more or less handcrafted to imagine it that way. So the best way maybe to put it is that imagine each one of those planets is like its own Skyrim to a point. So
Yeah.
like every planet you land on is going to be handcrafted to feel like that planet and not feel like another planet. So it's going to focus on this deep single player experience of you exploring these unsettled worlds.
Sounds so cool.
it does.
Yeah, and there will be combat and stuff, like, obviously, but
Yeah, in the trailer they show you laying a gun on the table. I mean,
yeah, it's not going to be the main focus.
yeah.
But yeah, like, and they said it's going to be, I mean, I don't think it's going to be like, the most realistic space game ever, but they are aiming for a somewhat more realistic feel to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I said, like, there's a whole launch sequence for your ship and a landing sequence, and like I said, like, you actually do need to fly your ship to these places and stuff like that. And then
So sick. That's the cool fact. The only other game that I thought had a pretty cool experience was Jedi Fallen Order, with you watching your ship break and enter atmosphere. If you like to be able to get that feeling in another game would be so cool.
No Man's Sky does it very well. But I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all works out and what all you can do inside this solar system that they're creating, or set of systems.
Yeah.
So going back to like the planets and the solar system, I can't imagine that. I mean, obviously they're gonna have planets. There's gonna be multiple. I just can't imagine they're gonna have more than like 10. If they're gonna be fully open planets that you're able to walk around the entire planet, that's gonna be a massive game. I can't imagine that they're gonna have a lot.
Is this next gen only? I don't think. Did we talk about that?
It's Xbox and PC.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only Series X though.
Yeah,
is it?
I'm seeing Series X and PC. If it did,
I was just wondering because that would matter in the scope of the game.
Absolutely.
So
they would have to condense the planets for Xbox One, or they would have to limit your ability to roam that planet if it was going to be on Xbox.
Well, yeah,
One.
because like what we're talking about, like it would be so limited because if they were trying to like include previous gen.
I mean, what I'm thinking right now is like that, taking Skyrim's map, and you have planets that you're going to explore that are going to be that size, maybe bigger. Some are or smaller, kind of just depending. But Skyrim itself is not a small map. It's a good size map, especially for 2011. Yeah. So
yeah,
just kind of thinking about like how big this game is going to be as far as like download size. It's going to be massive if they're going to do more than 5-10 planets. Storage. Oh, absolutely. Well, there goes your entire storage.
I mean,
I'm fine with that, by the way. I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Yeah, if it's worth it, it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
But to be fair, though, I mean, if, again, some of these planets are more or less unsettled, so there really shouldn't be much of anything on them. It's not like you're going to land on them and walk into,
a city.
New York City or
something. Yeah, which I get, yeah. But
might
just
just be a
I would
desert
imagine they
planet.
would have maybe a space station hub world or a planet that has the
Oh
maybe
yeah, I'm sure
7 planets.
there's gonna be a couple of those places, I'm sure.
for sure.
I have no
Yeah.
doubt. But I mean, planet wise, we don't know exactly what we're gonna get or how it's all gonna play out entirely.
No.
Yeah.
Because again, they're still playing it very close to the vest.
Which they
Um,
should. I think this one they should keep
oh
very
yeah,
close to the vest until they release it. Really build that anticipation for this game.
Well, I remember they did because they said that they are really trying to build on like the immersion with like the communication system with other NPCs and things to
but yeah.
like
This will be the first game they're running on their new creation engine. Because the Fallout uh, Fallout 4 was running on an upgraded version of the original creation engine that was running like Skyrim and stuff like that. Um, so I think this is going to be the Creation 2 engine, where they basically, I mean, I don't want to say rebuilt it from the ground up, but they essentially like took out all the old stuff, replaced it with a bunch of new stuff, um, to make it more, current and up to modern standards and such.
yeah.
So yeah, with that is going to come, at least in theory, is going to come, you know, better NPCs, better NPC interactions.
Yeah, because that's
More
what they were
characters.
saying is because Skyrim was known for that compared to the Fallout series.
Yeah. More people, more dialogue, more stuff to say. And again, them all probably living their own lives like, they did in Skyrim and Fallout and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Standing around waiting for you.
I
Yeah.
I for one cannot wait for this game to come out. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a great game.
Hell yeah.
I
I'm
don't.
hoping.
I don't even have words to describe it. But anyways, these are just part of the games that are, or part of the list of the games that are coming out in 2022. Like I said, we didn't encompass all of them. We didn't talk about all of them. There's some games that we're just flat out not going to mention, other than like the one that I mentioned earlier. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
the only game that we're not going to get in 2022 is Rockstar's Table Tennis.
We don't need it because we already have it. We've already.
We need another one. We need something.
I mean, I won't argue with that.
But of course, I have to throw
We
that.
have the gift from the gods.
Of course, I have to throw
Or
that shameless
Bully,
plug in here.
Bully 2, that was shot down, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's gonna.
As a whole thing.
Yeah, that's a whole
different
other thing.
Yeah, I mean, mentioned the Rockstar Table Tennis.
Yeah. So, anyways, with the games that we're looking forward to coming out in 2022, in the meantime, Brenden, what are you playing right now until we get those games? Or what are you playing right now?
Well, so I'm still playing Halo Infinite, and then I picked up a bunch of stuff on sale because it was the holiday sale for everything. So I picked up a bunch of games, but I'm just playing Halo Infinite and then playing Samurai Warriors 5 at the moment. Yeah, that's all I'm really playing at the moment.
Okay.
What about you, Josh? What are you playing?
Same. Well, same as your first. I playing Halo Infinite's multiplayer and some. I just finished that Tamurai event. Played some MCC, but I'm mainly playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and I just started a new playthrough for Cyberpunk because I haven't played it since it came out, since all its patches. So, gonna do another run through that. But that's currently my goal. Those two games, besides Halo Infinite. What about you, Tim? What do you do?
So I'm kind of having a little bit of video game ADD on my Xbox. I don't know what the hell I want to play because I downloaded Batman and started playing that, and then I downloaded Halo and started playing that. So Xbox-wise, I'm just all over the place since we've ditched Call of Duty, so now that's topic for another time. PC-wise, I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't really played very many video games these past... Actually, it's been about a month now just because of the holiday and then my work schedule and things like that. So I'm really hoping now things will calm down and I can play a little bit more, get more time in Horizon Zero Dawn. I got a server going with my dad for Farm Sim 22. But right now, my main focus still is Horizon Zero Dawn. When I can get on and play it, I definitely do.
Oh wait,
Nice.
wait. Are you telling me that, or us, that you're playing Farm Sim more than you're playing anything else?
No,
Oh,
I'm really
okay.
not playing any. I play phone games more
I
than I
was
play
gonna
anything
dig at
else
that
right
a little
now.
bit. When you mentioned
My-
making the server, I was like, oh.
I've played like 3 hours on it, but
Okay.
it's something that I do need to get on and play also. No, I play phone games more than I play any other games right now, which this podcast is not going to talk about phone games because those do not qualify as video games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, there is one phone game that I'm willing to bring up in this podcast, and it's Elder Scrolls Blades. We'll bring that one up down the road.
I have no idea what that is, but I trust you.
We'll bring it up down the road. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. We really appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever the hell you can do on whatever hell platform you listen to. We really appreciate it. We hope you join us next time, and we will definitely see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.